one. No,
There
but
would
the
have
harm
to be
is
yes,
but the
more
harm is
harm,
far
more
less.
harm. Yes.
I would say the harm is far less.
All right.
All right.
Let's try to push into one of the social topics there, fellas. I could flip a coin on it, but let's just I'm gonna hand it over to Speakeasy. He said objectively the least floor time here, so without interruption, I'm gonna hand it over to Speakeasy to talk about some of the social subjects that we usually get into, such as the bathrooms, the sports issues, stuff like that, and see if we can unpack a little bit there. So go ahead when you're ready, Speakeasy.
Well, like this just touches on what I said with my opening statement, is that the binary of gender has literally formed everything with legal, with medicine, with sports. Like this is there's no, again, if we have an ambiguous definition of gender, we can just allow anyone, like they want to do, put anyone into sports. So why should anyone even have to take the certain HRTs and all these, or why should a man have to take the HRT for a certain amount of time before he goes into the women's sports? Why don't we just make every sport neutral that way and just have dudes boxing out women all the time? Like, is that what you want to see? Is that the world you want to live in? Like, I just...
All right, so why do you want to divide sports up by gender? It's because of fairness. I'm not even going to explain that. You want it to be fair, right? The thing is, gender is not going to always tell you what is or is not fair in a sport, right? If you want to gauge fairness, there are better metrics to use other than gender, right? There are some adult women who are much stronger than me, much faster than me, and can kick my ass in some sports. And that's not fair, right? They're better than me, but they're a woman. So it's disagreeing with your mind, with your paradigm, right? If you want fair sports, there are other metrics that you can use that are better, apt to gauge fairness, such as strength that can be measured, speed that can be measured, even skill could be measured, muscle mass, BMI. There's many metrics that can be measured that can better suit a fairness in sport than just gender. Gender is a non-consistent way to gauge fairness.
Just ask a single question very briefly?
Please.
If men only compete with men and women with women, how's it unfair?
It's unfair because not all men are equal to each other, and not all women are equal to each other. It's not fair always.
So,
right?
So what you're saying is that sports themselves, the idea of sports themselves, isn't fair to begin with.
Fundamentally, they can never be perfectly fair. The goal is to make it more fair. But if I challenge Michael Phelps in swimming, that's not a fair match. Just because we're both men, he's physically way more adept to swimming than I am. But it's not fair just because we're both men.
Yeah, but the point of sports is to compete, right?
Yes, and you want it as fair as possible. That's why you have to use metrics.
So what would be a more fair system?
Strength. You can measure strength. Speed, you can measure speed. You can measure BMI. You can measure skill level even in certain sports. These are metrics that are much more apt for fairness in a sport, that you can gauge, is this person fairly gauging against this person? That is the best way to measure fairness. Right?
Okay, so here's what I'll do on this particular argument. I'm going to cede a bunch of ground to you again. In this case, though, I'm not even going to destroy you like I did last time I ceded. This time, I'm just going to cede the ground and say, I'm perfectly happy with women beating the absolute or men beating the absolute shit out of women in all categorizations of women's sports. Like, I'm totally fine with that. I'm content with it. I don't care if they kick their faces in. I don't care if they beat their brains out. I don't give a shit if they throw them into walls. I don't care if they I don't care what they do to them. Like,
you don't care.
My idea is, here's what I'll say. My counter is, the reason you always see it's the M to Fs who want to do all the competing and not the F to Ms, especially in contact sports, there's basically none, is because of this reason. Because obviously the M to Fs feel like they have a statistic, an advantage, right? And often they do. And so the thing is like, because of that, I find it to be that men are invading women's sports, and I'm totally fine with that.
Right, I'm not fine with that.
What do you mean you're not fine with that? You're not fine with it?
NBA is a gender neutral sport. I don't know if you know that, right? The reason they made a women's NBA is because no women could compete, right? So this is what Andrew's saying.
I don't understand why he's not fine with that, though. Why aren't you fine with that?
Sports are pretty boring anyway, so let's just make sure we take them all out by putting them in with the men.
Did you just get Bugs Bunny, boy? I said duck season, you said rabbit season, then we just reversed it. Now you're arguing that men shouldn't be in women's sports, bro?
Maybe I was not representing what I thought when I said that. What I meant was I'm not okay with unfair sports. I want sports to be fair. And using gender
Why?
as a distinguishing fact, because that makes sports fun.
No,
right?
I think it
Is
makes it
them
way
to be
more fun when
fair.
they're not fair.
Well, that's because you're a sadist. But in
Well,
reality,
wait, I'm
you-
sorry. Wait a second. When you go and you watch somebody get
Yeah.
completely brutalized
And
in a
make a lot of
sport,
money?
you think that shit's not fun for people?
It's fun
I mean,
for one
people,
team.
People have a weird tendencies towards
Yeah.
sadism.
So what do you mean? Of course it's more fun. Of course
I'm a
it's more fun.
Blackhawks fan, trust me.
it's at a certain point, it's not fun, right? It's unpleasant to experience. True cruelty is not fun for me personally, but in I want a sport that's fair. I want sports where two people are evenly matched, and gender is not the way to address that. And I don't know if you heard what I was saying, Speakeasy, but there's better metrics that can be used to gauge fairness other than gender. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, those metrics we already do these in certain sports.
Yeah, we should throw out gender
Like
then if
boxing,
we're using
for
those
instance,
metrics.
we keep the certain weight classes of men together. Yeah, we do
Perfect
this. But
example.
again, all you're gonna do is just eliminate all women from sports, and it'll be a bunch of the only women in your worldview that you'll see in sports is dudes wearing dresses.
Not at all, Speakeasy.
No,
in
not
fact,
at
you
all,
would
dude.
have plenty of women who could compete
No.
much better
No,
and much more
hold on.
fairly.
I'll
Will,
be
I
the
actually,
great
I got
of
something to
every
say about
woman
this.
UFC
No.
fighter.
Hold
I appreciate
on,
it.
because honestly,
I'll be
no,
the great
Let's
of
let
that.
Pepin. Let's let Pepin.
he's
go, guys.
missing the point that there's intramurals. You guys are also missing that there could be other leagues that could be developed through this. Like, dude, I've played in a gay men's hockey league. I'm not gay myself. They needed a backup
A
goaltender.
gay
but
men's hockey league? Is that
yeah,
what you
there's a
said?
gay men's hockey league in Chicago. Actually, I kind of noticed your background there. That's you not recognize the Sears Tower?
Why don't you guys let the lesbians play with y'all?
They do. It's co-ed. I was just getting to that.
Oh, you didn't say that. You said
And guess
gay
what?
men's.
And
You
the
said
thing
gay
is,
men.
outside of the co-ed, outside of playing for the gay men's hockey league, which is all co-ed, all
that
these
wouldn't
other,
imply that
I
was
can
a
tell you right
co-ed
now,
league,
every
that's
other
all.
men's league,
Learn
pretty
to
much
speak,
in the
though.
entire tri-state area of Chicago, also has women on their hockey teams. And I can also tell you that most of them are certifiably badass.
So it's not a men's hockey league then if it has
It's
women on
considered
the
men's hockey. It's literally called men's hockey leagues.
Look, listen, my position on this, like, I don't even know why
So
conservatives.
Speakeasy's just going to freak out over that.
Like,
now?
I don't even know why Speakeasy. You don't even need to fight them on it. The truth is that the feminists fought for 75 straight years in order to have their own sports divisions and sports leagues and prove that they were just as good as the men and all of this shit. Now the radical turfs, the trans exclusionary retarded feminists, are out here saying, "Hey, you can't have men in our sport." I think it's fucking great. I love the fact that they're getting their fucking brains bashed in because they vote for this shit. I don't give a shit. Like, I say more men in women's sports. More fucking men in women's sports. Do it now. Do it fast. As many of them as want to go in, that's fine. That's my actual position. What's the problem here?
Sadistic. So, Speakeasy, can I explain to you why it would not eliminate all women out of sports if you did approach this the way I'm
It definitely
describing it
would.
to you?
Yeah.
No, let me explain
And
to
like
you why it will
I
not.
agree where it would make sports, all fun instead of, you have to wait for the women's sports channel part,
So let's say you, instead of using gender as the metric of fairness,
Women
you
UFC
instead,
fights are boring. I
you
always
ins-
skip those
Oh
ones.
my god.
All right, just one
You
second.
instead
We'll
use
jump in here. I'll cue
you
you up
ins-
your mic there, Andrew, as well. Go ahead
sure.
there, Will.
Instead of using gender as the metric to distinguish what is and isn't a fair fight, you instead use strength, right? And if a woman comes in and they have a low
I'm
level
muting
strength,
myself, Ryan. Sorry. I'm sorry. He just said something. I was just responding. I'm actually muting myself.
Oh yeah, no worries. If I was just hitting the unmute just so that when you're ready to come off mute, it's available. Just because I took away the ability to unmute oneself. I can undo that though, because you guys are doing quite well. So,
Yeah, I'm just trying not to interrupt as these guys are doing their back and forth.
no worries. All right.
all right. So if someone comes into the sport and they have a low level strength, they do not have to depend on their gender to hope they're going to be matched with a fair person, because instead you could be matched with someone with a similar level of strength, right? There are some women who have very low level strength, and they could be matched with women who have low level strength or men who have low level strength. In fact, it would be more inclusive. More people would have opportunities because it would make things more fair. You could have weaker people join sports when they wouldn't have before because they're only divided by gender. That is a much less fair metric to use to gauge fairness. It would be more inclusive. More people could join in, have fun. It'd be a more better system overall.
Yeah, like I don't care about it being fair amongst the men.
What do you care about it being?
Again, I like watching the better fighter take out the less better fighter. Like
Well, then
I
we
don't know
can
why
bring
the
back
fair
the
part matters.
Coliseum if you just want to have people kill each other. Like, that's not how modern sports are tackled. Modern sports is about competition and about who's better than the other one and about who trained better than the other one. It's about trying to be the best you can be.
No,
It's not
like,
just about getting
dude,
someone killed in the middle of the
they should let the
town hall.
UFC fighters do steroids too, so that they can really fucking give us
That
a
is an
show, you know what I
irrelevant
mean?
point. That's not even close to what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it be more fair I mean, like, what is even the objection to steroids in sports? If all of them take steroids, that's more fair.
They don't.
It's an
That's the whole
irrelevant
thing
point.
with UFC, though.
It's not relevant to the thing we're talking about. If you want points, steroids or not, that's
No,
not
I'm
relevant
explaining
to
to you.
gender.
I don't care about the fair part
Competition?
this much, where you're making it so let's make
Well,
the
hold on,
really
Speakeasy.
tall
No, hold
men
on,
fight
Speakeasy.
the
The
really
right
butch
wing,
women. I
no,
don't care
the
about all
main
that.
right wing talking points are though. That's the problem there. You may not be making.
If you don't care about fairness, then why do you want to separate sports based on gender?
Again, I prefer not to watch the men beat up the women, but as to Andrew's
Oh,
point, if
not
this
say
would
this.
just eliminate women's sports in general, and that would be probably better.
Do you think what I'm describing would eliminate women's
Yes,
sports in general?
100%.
But you could still have
The whole
weak
reason we
people
made a second basketball
participate.
league and all these other leagues is so that women could have their own leagues to play in.
But
So
women
if
could
you wanna
still
just
participate.
Take that away, sure, I'm with it, bro.
But women could still participate in the system that I'm describing, right? Speakeasy,
Yeah, they
you
can
understand
try.
that.
Sure.
No, it's not try. You would actually be more competitive. They would have better competition because they would have people closer to their match level rather than just, oh, you're a woman, being the
Okay,
woman,
sure.
hope you're going to compete.
You have this opinion, and my opinion is they would just get eliminated from sports. And we have proof to show that that's what happens when you don't allow a different league between men and women. We have proof that this is what happens. They can't get in.
But
So-
why can't they get in, Speakeasy? Why? Please explain.
Because they can't compete with men.
Why
That's
can't they
what I'm
compete,
trying to explain
Speakeasy?
to you.
Why
Like,
can't they compete,
that's the whole
Speakeasy?
point.
Why can't they compete, Speakeasy?
Men are better at sports.
Okay, so it's a skill
built
level?
differently, right?
It's about strength?
No, it has
Skill?
all
nothing to do with
different
skill.
types of things. There's strength, there's twitch muscles, there's the way their hips are formed.
If
there's the way
Speakeasy's
Perfect.
live right now,
muscle masses.
That's perfect.
are you
That's
live, Speakeasy?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
You
Okay,
guys can
okay.
unmute
So
yourselves again, by the
those-
way. So just to let you guys know.
Okay. So those things you just described, Speakeasy, mass, muscle, strength, speed, all those things, those are metrics that can be used to gauge better, fairer fights, right? If you really want fair fights, then that's the reason you're dividing it by gender. You can do that without talking about gender. You can do that with the actual attributes themselves. And that would make a much more productive, competitive environment
No,
for everybody.
again, my reason to divide it by gender, right, is with my moral worldview is men beating up women would be pretty bad. But if it's going to eliminate women's sports, I'm kind of for it.
Not a serious person.
Well, I don't understand why that's an unserious position. It seems
Yeah.
like our enemies are destroying themselves. So if the idea here is that radical feminists
Wait,
are
so-
becoming trans exclusionary and literally they're called trans exclusionary radical feminists, though I say retarded feminists. I think that the reasoning that we would have of the enemy of my enemy is destroying itself. What's the problem here? Why does that make us not serious people?
Well, let me try to track what you're saying. So you are happy you're destroying feminists? Is that the idea? You want them to die? Is that it?
Die. Why did you make the
Absolutely.
inference
well,
of die?
well,
Why,
you like them being beat
why
up
did
in
you?
matches?
Why
I'm
did
trying
you
to
say
understand.
die?
You said you like them getting beaten up to like really
If-
bad,
if you
which can be
consent-
correlated with death.
If
right?
you consent to the idea that men can be women, you can't then make the argument that you can't compete in your sports teams, bro.
Have you listened to what I've been saying? I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
but
saying
they're
they
saying
can
that.
compete.
They're saying that. They're saying, not only did we vote,
I'm not
and-
defending them. Why are you
Yeah,
defending
I
something I'm not
understand,
defending?
but this is what our argument is about. When I
It's
say
irrelevant.
when it's not irrelevant because you just asked why should we take you seriously if this is your belief,
Didn't
and
ask
I'm
that.
giving you the rationalization for it. So you can be upset about that, but the rationalization is fine. The rationalization is just these women vote and have pushed for trans ideology. You cannot make both the dualistic claim that men can be women, but if they are women, you're affirming they're women, they can't compete in women's sports, or you're saying they're not women. You agree with me, right?
So I really appreciate you arguing against this argument that I did not make, and I'm not going to defend that because
You said
that's
he's
my
not a
stance.
serious person.
Yes,
because
because
he
he just said he
believes
likes
that.
getting women beaten up. That's not
Because
something I'm
why
gonna entertain
though?
with.
What's the rationale behind it though?
There's no real rationale I'm gonna
Oh, I just gave you the
entertain.
fucking rationale, bro. Can you repeat it to me?
That you like them suffering the consequences that they set up for
Yes.
themselves. Is
And
that the
what's wrong
idea?
with that? What's the No, the argument is that if you say men can be women, and then B, when they declare they are women, you cannot then exclude them from things which are women. Otherwise, you contradict yourself. That makes no sense. So our rationale on this is consistent.
So
Their
so
rationale is not consistent.
so again, I will say what I've been continuing to say. That is not my stance. I don't believe there should be gendered separated sports. I
Neither
think
do we.
sports common ground, fantastic.
Yeah. And the reason is because you create a contradiction if you say that men can be women, but they cannot compete in women's sports. That creates a contradiction, and you have to suffer the consequences of your own contradiction.
I'm not arguing against something I didn't argue for.
I'm giving you our position. I'm not. It's not an argument. That's
Okay.
a fucking position.
I gave you my position as well.
Yeah. So I think we can move past this. We're heavily in agreement here. Let them go in. Let them kick the shit out of them. I don't care.
I don't think
All right.
that's. Yeah,
I'm going to hand it back over to Speakeasy then, and we can discuss the other hot button topic that usually comes up in these debates since we didn't get to discuss it too much, which is usually the bathroom. So, if you guys got something else that you think is more pressing right now, feel free to correct me. But I think that's still something that a lot of people are talking about. So, go ahead there, Speakeasy, when you're ready.
Yeah, sorry. It cut out a minute. Did you say the bathroom?
Bathrooms.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
That was
Who
what
can
was
use
brought
the
up in the
bathrooms?
intro. So if you want to go down into that avenue, I'll give you the floor to intro us up, cue us up, and then we can get into it for a little bit. My timer did go off for the 50 minutes, so if you guys want to maybe give that one about 10 minutes, and then we can move into Q&A, if that sounds good by y'all.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
here
I'm
to
fine.
be as long
Yeah.
as possible.
Yeah,
so
sorry guys.
I'm here for the long game.
Sick break.
Yeah, I have enough time for whatever. Yeah.
Okay, well then let's do 15 minutes then, and then we'll go to Q&A. So yeah, if you're hanging out in the live chat right now, make sure once again that you poke the like button. It really helps boost us up in the algorithm. And also on top of that, we are going to take Q&A in a few seconds here. So not a few seconds, sorry, 15 minutes. We're going to do it the Q&A. So if you have questions for any of the speakers on screen right now, get them into a question. Are you feeling all right over there, Pat? So you took a
surviving.
sick break.
I am
Okay.
Not feeling good, Pat.
No, dude. I am struggling.
Yeah,
Damn.
I think he said he has COVID.
No, I got COVID real bad, man.
That's well, you're a trooper for coming out to Modern Day Debate. We appreciate you still holding to the obligations that we set while you were still sick. But no, this has been good. You guys have had a good discussion. So yeah, we're gonna hit this new topic for about 15, and then get into the Q&A. So once again, if you're watching live right now, get those questions in, and I'll hand it over to you. Speak easy.
So is the argument from the other side just simply
Look.
we should
Can I frame the question? So, Speaksy, why is it dangerous to have men in women's bathroom? Why is that dangerous by itself?
why is it dangerous?
Yeah.
Well, if you're just going to say inherently, obviously you can't just say any action is inherently dangerous, but you open the avenues to a lot of potential risks when you're
Like what?
involving. Pardon?
Like what?
Dude, he's answering you in good faith. What's this shit? Like, let him answer.
Yeah, it's simply I like I'm saying, you're opening the risks to when you involve people two different genders in the same washroom. You're opening the risks to predators, pedos, a lot of different avenues you're going down when you allow this in society. Plus, you normalize the sexualization between the genders to the public for no reason.
So is it concerning because men are more likely to be involved in sexual violence?
No.
Is that the concern?
No, so let me here. Well, I'll let you finish your inquiry, but then I have a question for you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut in. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that though. So I don't know where
Well, I'm just saying you're saying it's opening up doors to sexual issues, pedophilia and violence and things like that. Why do you think men being in a woman's bathroom is going to open those doors?
Well, are you only talking about men's and women's bathrooms, or women and
I
men's
mean,
bathrooms?
usually that's the steel man I'm trying to make. If you want to talk about something else,
So
it's
you
usually what I
only want to
hear.
allow men's and women's bathrooms? Is that, just to be clear, that's your...
No, usually the argument against trans being in the bathroom is you don't want to have the
Right, but I
opposite
gave
gender
you
in.
my argument, so I don't
Yeah.
care what
Well,
you...
here. Let me ask you a question, Will.
Yes, go.
Why are there stalls in bathrooms?
For privacy.
Oh, but
hmm
I don't understand. If we didn't have stalls in bathrooms,
So
how would that?
single stalls
Hang
for
on,
all
bro,
then, Andrew.
stop, bro.
Wait. No,
Can you
single
stop?
stalls
Can
for
you
all.
stop? Can you stop for 5 seconds so I can
I would
finish my
like
inquiry?
that single stalls. But
Yeah. So if you have stalls in bathrooms, if we eliminate the stalls, how does that increase danger for people?
how does that eliminate? It doesn't make it more dangerous. It
Right.
makes
It
it
doesn't.
more
But
uncomfortable.
yeah, it just makes it uncomfortable.
hmm So we
So
should have more stalls.
this is the same exact argument, right? So the
I
thing
don't
is that
understand.
if we eliminated all of the stalls, you shouldn't actually have a problem with that.
I mean, so I want people to feel comfortable, right? And I want people to feel comfortable in the
And they
bathroom they're
don't feel
using.
comfortable if somebody who's
Wait.
not their sex
Well,
going into their bathroom. That's the end of the
feel
argument.
All right.
That's it. Go ahead.
Calm down.
Go ahead, bro.
So you may not feel comfortable with that, but there are other people who will feel
So let's
comfortable with
say-
it, right?
tell me-
And there are some. Okay, can I share my screen real quick?
Go ahead.
All right.
Yep, sure thing.
All right.
I am ready when you are.
Share. Hold on. Where's the share button?
Will say when I go out and play shows, I do appreciate having a private stall. It's,
Who doesn't
nice.
like that, right? All right. So if we want to talk about comfort level, do you think women generally would be comfortable with having the people on the left side of the screen in the women's bathroom? Do you think women generally would feel comfortable with these people in the bathroom?
Probably not.
Probably
And you're about
not.
to tell me that they're
As-
trans, right?
Obviously, I am.
Yeah.
And then the people on the right side of the screen, do you think they would feel comfortable in the men's bathroom where men can look at them, be near them, this whole ideology, right? They would obviously not feel comfortable either. The
Sure.
goal is for people to feel comfortable.
Can
And
you
if-
can I ask you just very quickly?
Please.
I've seen this argument 100 times before. Just a very brief question. Do you think that most trans people, when they're affirming their gender, look like this, or that these are exceptions?
Oh, that is irrelevant.
Okay. Can you answer my question? Are these exceptions to how most trans people actually look?
Exceptions. It's an irrelevant point. It
Can you
doesn't
answer my
matter.
question, please?
What do you mean? People all look
Well,
different from
because
each other.
I'll explain.
What are you trying to
Hang
say?
on. I'll explain the entire argument. So the argument that you're trying to make is because there's a few exceptional cases of where the ambiguity is such that these people look so much like men. You're saying essentially really ugly women should be able to use the men's room. That's what your actual argument is. My argument back to you is that these exceptions, these are exceptional cases of ambiguity when it comes to sex. And if it is the case that most people don't follow this, then by your own metric, you would be increasing discomfort, even if these very few exceptions, who, by the way, are so exceptionally looking that they could use these bathrooms without anybody ever bothering them anyway. Why would you need to change policy? That makes no sense.
Well, the thing is, for these people to follow the law, they would have to use
You can
the
pull
bathroom.
this down now, by the way. We don't still need it up.
Okay, sure. For these people to follow the law, they would need to use the bathroom that would make people in the bathroom possibly uncomfortable.
Yeah,
And
so
the
what?
goal is
For
to
me to
make-
follow the law, I
Oh,
can't
so
take a
what?
piss off the side of the highway either.
The
So
whole
what?
purpose is to make people comfortable. If you want to make people comfortable,
If
be
you wanna
consistent
make-
with your argument.
Then this I have the most consistent argument. You have the least consistent. So I'll explain. So it's against the law for me to pull off on a roadway and take a leak. I do it all the time. I don't give a shit. And
I
neither
was
do
gonna
you.
say we still
Hang
do
on.
it, don't we?
And you don't give a
Yeah.
shit either. You do it all the time, and he doesn't give a shit, and he doesn't give a shit. All of you fuckers have done it. You don't fucking care. If you got to pee bad enough, you're gonna get off the roadway. You're gonna take a leak. You don't
Decency
care.
laws are dumb.
It's
right?
your call.
Yeah, okay, but you don't care. You just ignore them. If you take a few exceptional cases of gender ambiguity, all you're saying is really fucking ugly people where you cannot tell the difference, which are a rarity, right? Can you use whatever bathroom they want? But they already can because nobody can fucking tell. But because the vast majority of cases, you can tell. You can. For instance, I can give you a similar set piece that you just gave me of like, oh, I don't know, the health secretary, the former Biden health secretary. There's no ambiguity there. We know that that's a dude. So the thing is like, if you wanted maximum comfort, you would base it on the maximum of the cases. And the maximum of the cases is that you can tell. So them using the bathroom, which is associated with their sex, would actually increase maximum comfort. That is the argument. You fail at your own logic, not me.
All right, stop trumping yourself up. So,
And like,
if
wait,
you really,
even by your
trumping my, I
definition,
like it.
even
I'm
by
going to
your
trump myself
definition,
up.
You are
Will,
trumping
even by
yourself
your
up.
definition, you said I could say I'm a woman, so I would be able to go in those washrooms too. You understand what you're saying?
All right.
So you would increase the uncomfortability, right?
The goal of a comfortable bathroom is to be in an environment where you feel safe. Is that an agreement? Do we all agree with that? And safeness doesn't depend on if someone is ugly
I don't
or
think
yucky or gross
no,
or stuff like that.
I do dispute
Safety
this.
is the concern.
But I think you would even agree with me in my dispute here. So I know that this is kind of petty semantic, but I think it's important for clarity. I don't think that pure comfort in a bathroom stall has to just do with safety. I think it also has to do with like things like judgment, things, things like that. That you can have uncomfortability even if it's not because you feel unsafe.
Andrew,
like
we've all been at the stall where we're the only one in there, and another guy walks in and he walks to the one right next to us. It's happened to all of us.
That makes my point. So I don't know why you even said that, but anyway, the point is
I was making your point a little clearer.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody was unclear.
I will just go on.
Nobody was unclear about it. But anyway,
so the point
here
immediately.
Yeah, the point here.
I forgot that you're the only one that can make jokes here. Got it.
Well, just funny ones. So the point here is
zing.
It was good. The point here being, before I was so rudely interrupted by our socially ambiguous friend over there, is that I don't actually understand how this would increase comfort if all you can do is point to the exceptions to the rule and say these people who already could use the bathrooms of their choice, nobody would ever dispute it because they couldn't tell the difference anyway. Somehow we need to now let all the people, the vast majority of which you can tell the difference, now go into the various bathrooms. That increases the uncomfort level. It doesn't increase it. So can you explain that to me?
All right. So I think it's very important to try to unify comfort and safety into one cohesive unit, right? That is the most important part. Safety.
Yeah, I reject that.
You might not like being next to another man who's really figuratively in a way you don't appreciate. You feel like they're yucky or something, even though they're a man. That would make you uncomfortable. But that doesn't mean they get to use a separate bathroom for ugly people. That is not your argument you're making, right? That doesn't make any sense.
No, so I'm giving you the extension of your logic. You're just saying that really ugly people who are so ambiguous you can't tell their sex would be able to right this second use the bathroom of their choice because nobody would know the difference. If it were in fact the case, as you say, that nobody can tell the difference between these people being male or female, then there's no problem anyway. It's only if people could tell that they would become uncomfortable. The fact of the matter is that you can tell in the vast majority. Hang on, the vast majority of times you can tell. So by your assessment of uncomfortable, you would increase discomfort, not decrease it.
I think you're advocating for going into to women's bathrooms, Andrew.
Can you explain how?
Because you just said these men who identify as men and were born as women would be socially looked upon as men. And if they're socially looked upon as men, then they should be using the men's bathroom.
No, well, wait a second. So you're conflating two different things. It's not that they're socially looked upon as men. It's that you can be fooled or tricked, and at a glance, you could think one thing which is true, which is not true. That doesn't mean that it's socially acceptable. It just means that if it is the case that it's so ambiguous as to not be able to draw distinction, they should already be able to use the bathroom of their choice anyway.
Andrew, do you think those men should use the men's bathroom or women's bathroom?
If it is the case that all of those people can already use the bathroom of their choice because nobody can tell the difference, what the fuck is the problem unless you're saying people where you can tell the difference can't? Can you explain that?
Because they're breaking the law.
So what?
What?
So what?
They're breaking the law isn't an issue from your perspective?
No. Well, what law are they breaking?
They're breaking gender bathroom laws.
Yeah, if nobody can tell, right, then nobody cares.
No, the law cares, and if you ever get found out that you were using a bathroom that you weren't supposed to be using, you go to jail, Andrew. Do you not see that as an issue?
No, they're not going to go.
Do you not
first of all,
understand the complication?
they're not going to go to jail. One and
whatever.
Two. Here's the other big problem that you have is that we don't dictate public policy on exceptions to rules. We don't do that. Law is always a trade-off. It's always going to be a trade-off for some. Based on the many. For instance, I could make great arguments for why it is you should be allowed, according to the Constitution, to own a bazooka. However, we have public policy statements where we say, look, we have to limit that for the purposes of social cohesion or whatever else, other types of arguments that you want to make for this. The point being is that there's always a trade-off when it comes to law. In this particular case, we're not going to uplift the entire social order because there's a few people out there who are really ugly women or men who you can't tell the difference already could use the bathroom, so that the vast majority of them where you can use that bathroom, because that actually does increase discomfort, and discomfort does increase safety risk to both, by the way, to both.
Would you advocate for more gender neutral stalls where you're not even sharing a general bathroom with people?
No.
Like a room that no one else
can tell
can
you
go
right
in.
here, McCormick Place in
that?
Chicago. In McCormick Place in Chicago, they have nothing but non-gendered bathrooms.
Okay.
And it's safe. You're not uncomfortable
it's
around
safe.
people around
Nothing.
you.
Yeah,
You're
no crimes.
This is
no
the
nothing.
most optimal possible environment that a bathroom could be
It's
in.
always funny
You're
too because there's
isolated.
always lines to the like the stalls, but the urinals are always open. So
right, these are the kind of things that we need to advocate for
because
in the
men are just very
LGBTQ
frequent,
community.
right?
So would you advocate for things like that, Andrew?
No.
Do you think that's but why not?
Because again, I would not. I would not. It wouldn't maximize comfort. All it would do. So at that point, you would be putting an expense on both taxpayers and private business owners, massive expense that they don't actually need to comply with, in order to compensate a very, very, very tiny minority of people for no particularly good reason. When you consider
first of all,
stop, bro. I'm just trying to respond. Let me respond. Okay, I'll let you ask your question in its entirety. Can you give me a chance to give me my answer in its entirety? So we would not draft public policy creating expenses, necessary expenses for people like in rural Georgia. They might not have any fucking trans people. They're going to put in a trans neutral bathroom. It's fucking stupid. That doesn't make any sense. All that does is put an expense on a business owner for no good reason, with the potential that maybe one day there might be one somewhere. That's fucking dumb.
You're wrong.
What you could do instead is say, because there's such a drastic minority of people here, and if they're already that ugly at what you call passing, they can already use those bathrooms. All you're doing is saying we're going to maximally increase the discomfort immediately of people by allowing people you can tell the difference to go into their bathrooms. That's stupid policy. It doesn't even make sense.
Let's let Pep in here as well, there, guys. I think Pep was trying to jump
honestly,
into the point as well.
I'm good. I'm about to eat. Like, I kind of feel like I'm a yak guy, so just yeah. Make your
No
points.
worries. All right, go ahead there, Will. And Speakeasy, also feel free to jump in as well. I know that you've been having a chance to stew a little bit. Actually, maybe let's ask Speakeasy what he's thinking about what we're talking about here. We still got about 5 minutes or so, so let's Speakeasy in, and then Will. I'm sure you'll still remember where.
Yeah, well, there's not really much more I can add on to this. It's again, he Will is not saying that we want to do it for the people that are extremely passing and able to trick everyone, because that nobody would say anything to begin with. They wouldn't know, right? There's nobody that like, and this complaint about they would go to jail. Like, fathers and mothers bring their kids into the opposite gender washroom all the time so that they don't have to go into a washroom by themselves. They bring them with them so that they can supervise what's going on. Nobody called the police on these parents and said, "Yo, you better take them to jail because they're bringing an opposite gender kid in the washroom." Like, the
difference is that
that's what would go on.
The difference is that transphobic
you want people like me that look exactly like me to be able to say I'm a woman and go into the washroom. It's ridiculous, and you don't have anything good for it.
Speakeasy. Why should bathrooms be separated at all? You want it because it's uncomfortable. You want to be comfortable, right? Is that the core argument, Speakeasy?
Realistically, that's what this all comes down to.
You want to be comfortable in your bathroom, right? You want to feel comfortable with the people around you.
That's what you want. That's
right?
the reason you want trans people to be able, because you're saying it makes them more comfortable.
No,
right? They're a minority of the population. So why do you want the minority to be more comfortable than the majority of people? I don't understand.
You are misunderstanding me, Speaky. That is not my argument.
No.
You're about to give your argument, and that's going to be your argument, I promise.
Actually, hold on. You could apply this to disabled bathrooms too. If he wants to use that. Hold on. If he wants to use that argument about minorities, then we shouldn't have disabled bathrooms either then.
No, we don't. There's many places you don't have disabled bathrooms, bro.
That's actually BS. I can tell you
no,
right
it's
now
not
in
BS.
my city, in my city, it is
And
actually.
what did I just say?
against
There's
code to
many
not have
places where you
a
don't have
handicap stall.
disabled bathrooms. There's
So-
many places where it's completely up to the proprietor,
Right.
the owner. No wheelchair ramps. No bathroom for the handicap.
I live in
There's
a state
many
that's not the
places
case.
where that is the case.
Andrew, let me ask you a question right here, real quick. How do you determine who uses which bathroom?
Based on whether they have a vagina or a penis.
So trans people can use the bathroom of their choice when they have anatomical sex changes, can't they, Andrew?
Well, no, they can use the bathroom that they're assigned to their sex
Well,
at birth.
That's a different answer.
Yeah, dude.
That's a
Come on.
different answer than you just gave. Man, I
Mhm.
thought you were gonna own me on all this stuff.
I'm sorry.
How
I
about
don't
Speakeasy? Can you have a
understand.
more consistent
What's-
answer?
Wait,
Speakeasy, what's your answer
what
to
did
that
what did I
question?
say that was incorrect?
Oh, please. Speakeasy, can you try to
No,
answer
can
Because
this?
you're
you,
using
can you tell
Destiny
me
topics doesn't mean you're going to
What
win
did I
Go on.
say that was incorrect?
All right, let's break this down really simply so you
ridiculous.
Very
understand.
simply.
Really simply. So
Mhm.
you said it has to depend on the genitalia of the individual going into the bathroom. That's what
Yeah.
dictates who goes into the bathroom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When you have a gender reassignment surgery, that
Uh-huh.
changes the genitalia you have.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, well, doctors and the entire medical community says it does. So
No,
you're more
well,
intelligent
no, they
than
don't.
doctors.
They don't say
That
that.
is fantastic.
They don't say it changes the genitalia. So in
Of course
other words,
does. It's a
it doesn't.
genitalia
All
plasty.
all you're doing is so let me get this right. You're saying that if I chop off my arm, I'm not a man?
Oh my God.
Wait,
Can you just
are
make
you
your point?
Are you circumcised?
Can
Does
you
that
answer
mean
my
you're
Can
not
we
a
not
man
question?
ask
anymore?
ridiculous questions?
Exactly. That's my
Obviously not.
point. That's my point. You saying that there's a dismembering which happens does not change the categorization of man woman.
No, but it changes your genitalia.
Yeah, but you're talking about a disfigurement, not a changing of sex,
Of
which is
course
what
it's a
my
changing of
argument
sex.
is.
Of course it's a changing of sex.
Wait,
What is
Mhm.
Better
genitalia,
question. Hold on,
Andrew?
hold on. Better question then. Is
This is
circumcision
ridiculous.
is that deforming? your
Yeah, that's
penis then?
mutilation. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Not a big fan of mutilation. So, Andrew, what is genitalia? Let's really get down to this. What is a penis? If we
Wait,
really
how
want to
are
talk
you
about
not a
it.
fan of genital mutilation when you want people to?
Yeah, that's the
mutilate
stupidest thing I ever
their-
heard. I'm not a fan of genital mutilation, but kids getting their penises cut off, that's that's not genital mutilation.
What?
Children don't get their penises cut off. That's a red herring.
Yeah, that's
So
literally.
what
Yeah, I was just about to
is
say. There it
what
is.
is a penis, Andrew? Because you said that's the thing that decides what goes into a bathroom or not.
Yeah,
What is
I
a
was
penis,
being
Andrew?
I was being
Because
facetious. I was saying based on sex.
oh, you're changing goalposts.
No, there was no goalpost
Shifting.
change. I was just being
Classic
facetious.
transphobic strategy. So what dictates what goes into a bathroom?
The
Andrew?
sex of the person.
Okay, and you're saying the sex is how is that determined, Andrew?
Well, generally it's determined at birth, and there's 3 different categorizations in which you can make a sex determination. You can do it based on the production of small gametes. You can do it based around the genetics of an XY or XX chromosome. Or the third way, when it's very ambiguous, is you can use a reproductive pathway system. This would include ovaries or things like this.
Gotcha. So there's multiple ways you can determine what someone's sex is from that
Let's try to
standpoint,
wrap
right?
in.
Yeah,
1 minute
that's
and go to
correct.
Q&A.
Fantastic.
Is there anything else you wanted to add to that? Yes,
Yeah,
there's
I was
many
going to ask
ways
more
you could
questions,
determine
Andrew,
sex.
if you could be quiet a little bit.
Go ahead.
So if you could
I'm
change
waiting.
if you could change all those things,
Uh-huh.
would you be changing your sex?
You can't change a reproductive pathway.
But what if you could?
You can't.
Let's just experiment in our brains for a second. A thought experiment. What if
Oh.
we had really fantastic technology?
What if you could grow
and
a
you could
beak and
change
grow
it?
wings? Does that make you a
Mhm.
bird? Like,
Speak
what if-
easy. I'm not talking to you.
Hold
Andrew,
on.
what if
You
you
could-
could change
let's
that?
ask
What you're
Lathan.
talking about, so what you're talking about is the robot brain argument. That's a better one. You should use that one instead.
How
What
about
if
you
we took
entertain
your
the thing I
brain
asked you?
and we put you in a female body?
All right,
Andrew, can you address
let's let
my
William
question?
make his.
Okay, yeah, whatever your question
hypothetical.
is, go
Okay,
ahead.
I guess I'm just gonna make the point because I'm not really gonna ask you for your facetious answers. So if you could change all of those forms of identifying if someone is or is not a specific sex,
Like
that
you
would
could change
then
their
be
reproductive
changing
pathway?
somebody's sex. Of course,
Mhm.
yes, that's what I'm saying. If you could
Mhm.
change the reproductive pathway, the genes, which we're getting closer to, and then the genitalia, you would then be changing somebody's sex by your.
Yeah, they wouldn't
by
be
your
the same sex.
definition.
I agree.
You wouldn't be. That would be a sex change, and then that person could use the different bathroom. You would agree?
Yeah, so if you were able,
So it's a technical issue.
no, it's not a
The
technical
limit
issue.
of technology.
It's not a limit of technology either. You are not able, because sex is a binary, to change a reproductive pathway. It's not the case. There's only 2 viable reproductive pathways, period. That's always going to be unchanging. Technology is not going to be able to do anything about
Of
that.
course it can.
Okay, tell me how.
What? Well, I'm not saying I'm going to tell you how, but you
Then
can
how
do
can
things
it?
like that with
Wait,
technology.
you can't
You
tell me
can
how,
take
but it
someone's
can.
DNA
It
and
can.
form it into a certain way that it can be impregnated in a
No, you can't.
different form than you would before.
Nope, you
This
can't.
is science fiction, Andrew, we're talking about right now. We're talking
Yeah.
about far, far in the future,
Hmm.
but it is not
Yeah,
there's no law of
delusion.
physics. There's no
And
law of physics
I'll just
preventing this from
and
happening.
again, I'll concede if you change the ontology, meaning the very being of a person, somehow you were able to intersect or interject to change a reproductive pathway from birth as an egg, they actually would just be that sex then. So you're just making my argument.
I no, that I don't understand what you just said.
Okay, well I'll break it down for you.
Please.
There's
All
two
right, let's make this
reproductive
the last one,
pathways.
and then we'll
You
move
say,
to Q&A.
Andrew, if we could change the reproductive pathway, would your opinion change? Well, no, because it would still be the same problem. You're still one of two sexes, dummy. Do you get it now?
No. That is
Do you get
that's
it now?
not
Do
how
you
sex
understand
works.
now?
The thing is, we're using your definition of sex, Andrew.
I'm
That's not
using
the
mine
act.
too. I'm using mine too.
I know, but your definition is wrong. It's the problem.
Oh, my
Because
definition of sex
most
is wrong, Mr.
psychologists
Third
don't
Sex.
agree
Mr. Third
with
Sex.
you. Psychologists who understand gender and sex much better than you
Oh,
never would agree
psychologists.
with you.
Okay.
Yeah, people who studied it for decades, yeah, and know it way
Mhm.
better than you do, they would never
Oh.
agree with you.
The
But
guys
I'm
who
just
the
trying
guys
to
who study
my
John
whole
Money, the
whole
guys who study
exercise
John Money.
the exercise of what I've been doing is
the
trying to
fuck
prove
off.
your
Okay, wow.
illogicalness in
Dude.
your
All
own
right, guys.
paradigm.
Let's hit into the Q&A.
on,
It's been a
Andrew.
lot of fun. You guys have been having a great conversation.
I appreciate it, Andrew, though.
Yeah, it's been a lot of great unpacking.
This
We
was
had some
awesome.
tech issues to start, and
I
yeah,
did.
big
Well,
thank
listen,
you
I did
for the
have
help
fun.
there.
I have no ill will.
It was a good time.
I think you guys understand that. Like, I have no ill will. The Crucible we don't do harassment. We don't do any of that shit. I do enjoy the fact that leftists are willing to show up and do these debates. I did have a lot of fun in this one, particularly with you, Will. I'm sure we'll spar again
You're a
in the
skilled debater,
future.
Andrew.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun. You're welcome back anytime, and I'm happy always. Modern Day Debate did give me permission to say this. If you want to have further conversations on your own channel, things like this, I'm always happy to come around and we can have those discussions. So I appreciate both of you very much for doing this debate, and of course my great partner Speakeasy. It was very, very kind of you to show up tonight.